Hello and welcome to the Voice of TOD. I'm Tom, and in this video we're going to go over Phil Spencer's interview with the Xbox Showcase live from Gamescom 2023. So this one, it's about a 20-minute interview from what I can tell. I've seen other interviews with Phil from Gamescom that were done after this. I have a vague idea of what we might be talking about, but this is obviously going to be much more pro Xbox, much more focused on the really good things that they've done. Not the acquisition, although that might be touched upon. Certainly not Baldur's Gate. I do know that there's a question about Final Fantasy somewhere. It might be this interview. Maybe we'll get some really nice teasers of what's coming in the future that we don't already know. So hopefully there's going to be some interesting stuff in here. As I say, it's about 20 minutes long. What we'll be doing is basically just listening to them. I'll be chiming in with my bit. You know how I do these from now on. You've probably seen them before, so that's kind of how we're going. We're just going to jump straight in and see what Phil has to say.
It is my distinct pleasure to welcome CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Mr. Phil Spencer, to the stage.
I do like Phil.
I'm well. How are you? It's good to be here.
So good.
How's your first day of Gamescom?
I mean, it's been exciting. I've had a walk around. I've looked at some things, but I've mostly just been sitting here talking to Diablo and Age, and now to you. So it's like
I saw the Age demo.
It's kind of like a 10 out of 10.
Who was out here for Diablo?
Age. What's Age?
Roderick was here.
Roderick and Zood.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good vibes. I want to start by saying that the last time we were together, we were sat in the Bethesda London office planning to steal loads of stuff because we're loads of.
Are we saying planning?
Bethesda has a London office?
Yes, exactly. Well, you've said it now, so I was protecting us.
I still have my stuff.
Well, every time I talk to you, I always ask what you're playing. So I want to know what you're playing and why is it still Vampire Survivors?
No. Well, I am playing Vampire Survivors, so I got all the achievements.
Obviously, yeah.
But now they have couch co-op, and I'm playing with my wife. My wife,
That's
Kelly,
cool.
who doesn't play a ton of video games.
Yep.
So the fact that we can play couch co-op and she's enjoying it, like I'm all in.
As well.
So what I'm playing right now on console, I'm playing a lot of Remnant 2. I really like Remnant 2.
Yeah.
It's a great game to play with friends. I had my ROG Ally on the way out here. I'm playing a game called Fist, which is in Game Pass.
Yep.
It's a really nice platformer. I'm playing Brotato. Have you played Brotato?
That's also the first I've heard of it, so please tell me more. What is that?
So Brotato's not on Xbox.
Okay.
I'll say yet, but I don't have any. Well, it would be great to get on Xbox. It's a Steam game. It's kind of like, let's say it's inspired by Vampire Survivors.
Oh, I see.
But you play as a
You have a
potato.
type.
Yes, yeah, I'm very simple.
Yeah.
I have a small brain. So one stick, move around. But it's a fun game. So I'm playing some Brotato. I just finished, what did I just finish last? Bramble, have you played this game?
No, I've had it recommended a bunch though. Yeah, it's because it's a nice short playthrough, isn't it? As well?
But it's kind of a demented game. Like it
what Bramble is.
Demented, yeah. It starts
Demented
off very
sounds
cute,
interesting.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, like this is awesome, and then it like goes into some very crazy, great game.
Zags.
Great game, but it's like some very dark, let's just say dark places.
Okay. I'll get it on the download queue. That sounds great.
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's good.
So we're going to focus on Gamescom now. We're going to stop flapping our gums and
Okay.
actually talk. Our in Gamescom, quite literally surrounded by Xbox fans.
50,000 square feet of Xbox booth.
It's
Jesus.
pretty good. And
Biggest ever.
This is the first time in a while you've stepped on it as well. So I want to know why it's so important that Xbox has showed up so big this year.
Well, being here, being anywhere, but being in Europe with our customers, with players, with the creators that are here. I did a creator get together both last night, today, met with some partners. It's, you know, it's these moments where the industry comes together, where we can talk to each other, that the consumers can come in, the players can come in, put their hands on games. I just think it's critically important. Obviously, COVID messed up a bunch of things. That's in the rearview mirror. So when you had the opportunity this year to go big at Gamescom, we said, let's go. The other thing that's awesome in the booth is how much third-party support that's here, right? Like Ed Boon's games here, Mortal Kombat's here. We have the DLC for Cyberpunk's here. Like it's just awesome to see how many of our partners, Rod's games here, Diablo, how many of the third-party support on the floor.
It's good for the brand. It's also good for the other games to promote their stuff.
And then Starfield over. I feel like I'm showing everyone over
I can't see it. I can't see it. It's too small.
Well, it is actually technically massive, to correct you there. And we're only a week away from early access. So how exciting is it seeing this game
God, only a week.
into Xbox, and we're so close now?
Yeah, we've been working on it for a long time. I've known about it for even before we acquired ZeniMax. So it's been great to see Todd and the team work more closely with them than
of course he did
on any game.
They have a really close relationship with Bethesda.
Where we get to launch a new IP that has the amount of buzz and anticipation that Starfield does. A lot of games you'll launch that are new IP and then maybe they build into their strength. But like there is just a crazy amount of anticipation. And the thing that I love is the confidence that the team has right now. Like putting out review codes 2 weeks before launch, because it's a big game. And I'll be the first to admit, the first 3 to 4 hours are a little bit hunt and peck, figure out like, well, what am I actually doing? Then you get on a side quest or something and like the game just like blows up in terms of its epic scale. So I love the fact that
Stop teasing me, Phil.
Confident in giving reviewers time with the game before they're actually reviewing or just talking about what they think of the game.
Viewers should get the chance to play a load of the game before they actually review it.
If you will, kind of. I think that's how it works. Forza Motorsport's over there, and that's out not too long after Starfield, is it?
That's right. That's October. We did a take home 2 weeks ago where we got the kind of the opening of the game. Looks fantastic.
Of course it does.
I'm a huge motorsport fan. And I'd say Turn 10 for us for a long time in our first party has really been a technical showcase. Like Chris Tector, the team.
That's what I've said when I've seen it,
The stuff that they get the most out of the hardware, I think, of any of our first party teams. They just like, that's their focus,
100%.
along with building a great racing simulator. And the game looks fantastic.
They make it pop.
I can't wait for people to get to play.
So actually, it's almost 3 years into the console life cycle. It will be see what these consoles can actually do.
More of the game. But Motorsport is tried like something that one of those franchises I've played since the beginning, and I can't wait for the full release.
It's Motorsport is chef's kiss.
Well, and like kudos to Turn 10. They started with Motorsport, expanded to Horizon, so now they built like a sibling franchise to Motorsport. They've just done such a really good job of growing the relevance of Forza.
That's true.
For
they have. It's not my kind of game, but they have.
Great job.
Absolutely. So, Phil, I know one of the things in chat, and many of the fans really appreciate about you, is how much you love to play the games themselves. So I know just over here, you can't see behind me, we've got the Stalker 2 demo, and you've taken that for a spin as well. It's been 16 years since the original, so can you tell us what stood out to you?
It's been that long.
Yeah, Stalker, if you played the first game, has kind of a unique setting and story, and it's really nice to see what they've done in this build of continuing the lore of what Stalker is about.
So I need to play Stalker
is in the world and kind of how the world invites you into what your role is and your kind of task. I'm trying to do this without kind of spoiling too much. But
you can spoil if you want.
No, that's their game. Like I don't want to do that. But I'll also say, they're a dev that spends a lot of time perfecting the game in terms of the technology. I think they're still on that track. Like they're still, obviously the game's not done. So it's, but yeah, I just love that they've done a good job moving the Stalker kind of world forward.
I'm glad that they've had the time to do everything they need to do, especially being a Ukraine-based studio and everything that's gone on there.
It's super tough, but for GSC, obviously, it's a bit more complex, the situation they've got there. So I want to know, what does it mean to you to see these guys get here and get a demo out of the door?
Yeah, I've stayed in touch with the team over the years, and especially as you say, like the last couple of years, it's an emotional thing, right? Like you almost feel hollow asking them about how their game is.
Yeah, of course.
When you think about the world and what that they live in, and what that studio has gone through and really continues to go through. I think for them, I see, and they've talked about this when I've talked to them, that building the game has kind of been a refuge in a way, and it's cool to see that. I hope it never gets replicated again in terms of something that has to happen. But I'll say for the team, the fact that they're here, I was playing, they were literally pushing a new build right as I was playing that build, so their attention to wanting to put their best foot forward, even under the most difficult circumstances. I have a ton of confidence in them, and they're on that journey, but it's, it's an emotional thing when you're talking to a team that's going through, I don't want to talk about it in past tense, what that team is going through. So it's really special to me that they're here and that gaming can be part of how they're getting through it.
Yeah, for sure. And as well as being here, there are so many communities for so many different games.
Yeah.
There are Xbox, you've got Sea Thieves. I'm doing it again. Sea Thieves over there. You've got an ESO over there.
They can't see it, you know.
No, I know. I'm just
There's actually nothing over
I'm
there.
telling you where they all are.
It's empty, like, there's nothing here. And you're just
Ignore
like
the
pointing
green screen. It's an illusion.
the grounded communities over there. It's actually not.
But what's it like for you to see all of these communities come together?
Community and gaming, to me, are linked. Like,
yeah,
it's
100%.
from my early days of literally going to the arcade. I'm the old guy, but like that's the only way I could play that and Pong at my house. That's how I play video games.
Genuinely, almost every time he talks. Not every time he talks, because sometimes he's a bit more buttoned up and corporate. But I genuinely do feel when Phil speaks, certainly about Xbox and his love of gaming, his passion of gaming, it is from the heart. And I also kind of feel that he's very honest with it.
But also the virtual communities.
Whereas,
and I think it's one of the unique things.
like, they're competitors, right? Jim Ryan at PlayStation. I don't really buy what he says when he talks about games. Like corporate stuff, business stuff, completely. He knows what he's doing. I don't see him as a gamer. Whereas Phil, I see Phil as a gamer, as just a guy who plays games, goes home from work, sticks on his Xbox, his PC, whatever, and just plays games. I don't buy that with Jim Ryan. And that doesn't mean that you have to be,
I also want to make sure on the community side,
you know, a gamer to be high up in a games company, because Sony are kicking Xbox's ass. The PlayStation is outselling PS5 and the PS4 outsold the Xbox competitor already by loads, and we're only 3 years into the generation. But I think it helps that you have a face of the Xbox brand who does seem so approachable, and that you can sort of connect with, and when he talks about games, you listen. Like business-wise, I can't comment. I think that he has turned Xbox around, but I genuinely do think that he puts the games first. He maybe isn't making the smartest business choices. That's for other people in the company. Like, he will have business people around him who don't know anything about games. But he is like, these games, we got to get these games. Like Starfield. We got to have Starfield. How are we going to get Starfield? Right, we'll just go buy Bethesda. Or ZeniMax. You know. And maybe you need someone who is game focused, who sees the value of the game and is like, I need that, I want that, that's got to be on my platform. And that's where the businessism comes from, instead of crunching the numbers all the time. I don't know. I never run a business to the scale that they talk about, the billions of dollars. But absolutely, I just, when he talks about games, I listen.
I'd love for you to reflect on any memories or moments you have from the introduction of ID and how it's gone over the past 10 years.
Of course, 10 years of ID as well, which was a really good investment for them.
Yeah.
One, we always have discussions internally when new things are going to happen on the console. And there's always some different kind of feelings about the impact. When free-to-play came to console, it'll be the end of the console if free-to-play comes to console. Some people think it is. But, like, you know, clearly the console's still there, and free-to-play happened. ID at Xbox. Well, when we have unmanaged partners that are building games on Xbox, what does that mean for a console? Because we started with this
Lamplighters League,
where
yes.
publishers had two
Cocoon as well.
arcade games that they could go do. It was like a silly policy in Xbox. Opening it up and allowing anybody who submits and actually has good intent to build a game on the platform has led to some of the best games that have, people forget, like that Fortnite actually came through ID at Xbox. When you ask about like some of the special moments, I have to go to games from places where we'd never seen games.
Don't think I even knew that.
Xbox. I remember going to the Brazil game show and meeting the devs behind Aritana. I'm probably missing the pronunciation. But it's this, I think it was the first Brazilian developed Xbox game. And it came through ID at Xbox, and this team of guys, we were in Sao Paulo, and they came together, and I met them at the show, and it was so cool just to think. It used to be there were like 3 places on the planet where games were built, and now you have games coming from all over the place, and people tell their stories through their lived experience and their world.
It's totally different stories, as you say,
Totally
around the world. Yeah.
Now, whether it's explicit in like I'm going to do a game about Brazil, or I'm going to do a game about something else, but through the lens of what I see in the world.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing. Whether it was like Candleman, which I think was the first Chinese-developed ID at Xbox
the outreach of the ID program,
new ID at Xbox games
has been
from new places and new partners.
It's worldwide, isn't it?
And I just think that's like, if we're going to find new players, we're going to have more creative, and the mix of
we're only recently getting into that indie side of things, playing smaller games. Mainly because of Game Pass, honestly, but
feels like yesterday, or I don't remember it. I should say I don't remember.
There's so much out there. There is just so much out there.
No.
That's a great job for a 10-year-old that you've got.
No, but it's like that it was 10 years ago. And I remember, though, like, trepidation. What's going to happen when unmanaged developers can build console games? You know what happened? Some amazing things happened.
It did. So another thing that you talk about a lot as well is when you can play games whenever, however, and wherever you want. And I know that's something you really want to give to fans however possible. So I want to know what that commitment looks like, both at Gamescom and maybe the months ahead, what that story is going to be.
The critical thing we look at Teams Xbox in terms of our success is how many players.
Yeah.
How many players do we have? And even more and more, how much are people playing? Like, do we have a platform that has games for kind of all hours of the day? Sometimes you're playing with your family, and what can I do? Sometimes it's just me time, and I want to go do things. And how many players show up? We look at our monthly active players, our daily active players. And when I say on Xbox there, whether you're playing on the cloud and you're streaming to a device that we don't know anything about, whether you're playing on a PC, and as Microsoft, we know something about the PC, or you're playing on one of our consoles. Like, those are all Xbox players. Or, like, flying over here, I'm playing on my ROG Ally on the airplane. And I think about that as my Xbox away from home, or my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Like, I want those things to feel as connected and as complete as an Xbox experience.
Pretty sure Game Pass PC is on Steam Deck.
We will continue to focus on hardware. It's an important part of our team and what we can go do.
Good.
But I don't want our hardware to be a limitation on who can actually feel like they're part of the Xbox community. If you buy hardware from us, we're going to do an awesome job supporting you. We want to make sure great games are there. If you have the device that you want to bring and be part of Xbox, we also want that to be 100% great on Xbox. And it's, as you said, it's putting the player's decision on where they want to play at the center of it.
It's just there for them, whichever one they want to grab at that time.
And not only is it there, my save game moves with me, my community is there.
It's
so I can
quite
make progress on any
amazing
platform I want to play on.
This idea of player decision making driven by players choosing to be Game Pass members, not to buy an Xbox to be part of the culture. It's to have Game Pass.
And it's just a continuous experience for me, and everything moves. It's fantastic.
And I think that's where the S is stemmed from.
Want to know, while we are here, is there
but they need to also remember that the Series X is a powerful machine. Talked about this so much today.
Well, Stalker 2 was one, so it's great
the PS. Series X is so powerful. It feels like they have just they're keeping that power back. Because, you can just stream it on an S, or a Samsung TV, or a mobile device.
Stage all the time. It happened last night.
Make something make it a reason to buy an X. You can't just be, it's a high-end console in the Xbox ecosystem. You have to give us a reason to buy the X.
Well done.
Because 4K 60 is clearly not possible. That's why I bought one. I can't think of any 4K 60 games that have come out that I wanted to play, or that I've spent a lot of time in.
We had the same thing at, I still call it E3, though no one else does, but that June event, our showcase, but also I think he was in Keeley's Play Days thing, which was great. But we tend to fly by. So I saw him on stage because he was on, I think, right after me as I was coming off stage, which is how we normally spend time together. But really great third parties here, and I know I'm supposed to pick some obscure indie game, but I want to sit down with Ed and get my hands on Mortal Kombat, so I'm hoping I get to do that.
I'm going to recommend to you, if you haven't yet, go play Little Kitty Big City. That's the one. I have not. That's the one. I'm not really a cat person, though. Phil,
no.
You have to spoil it, don't you? I have to thank you now for the interview, and you've just gone and said you're not a cat person.
I'm a dog person. My dog's name is Oogie.
Oogie?
Oogie, O-O-G-I-E.
Oh, okay.
He's a rescue.
Maybe I'll let you off.
He's the most awesome.
That's a pretty cool dog name.
Ever.
Fine.
But yeah. So Big Kitty, Big City. What would say?
Well, imagine if it was Big Kitty, Little City. That's a game. Someone like that one. Well, Phil, we got to wrap there. You're absolutely fantastic as always. Thank you for joining us.
You are.
No, you are. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Thank you.
Don't steal too much stuff, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. But now it's over to Benny and Maxi to close out the end of the show.
So, yeah, I wasn't expecting anything too big. It's just a chat, isn't it? It's a general chat. Oh, we're at Gamescom. What do you think? Look, like I said in this whole section, when Phil speaks, I tend to listen. I might not agree with everything he says. It sounds like they're trying to really push this idea of Xbox being an incredibly inclusive, open-ended platform, which is great. Absolutely, 100% agree. If you can't afford an Xbox, but you want to play games on Game Pass, you can get them on the cloud. GeForce Now has Game Pass. There's loads of options. They've done a deal with Ubisoft for cloud streaming rights for the Bethesda, not Bethesda, for the Blizzard Activision games. All these things, they're really pushing the cloud thing. They're the only people that are pushing the cloud thing. Right? And that's great. I like a console. Day one, as soon as it went up, I pre-ordered the Series X. The most excited I've been in a very long time for a console launch was the Series X. I don't feel that I am getting the value out of it. And that is slowly shifting because, you know, all right, I stream games. I play games on the PC now as well because I bought a PC for me to be able to stream games. The primary focus of this channel, and now the focus of TOD Plays Games, is to stream Xbox games. Xbox was always going to be an Xbox focused thing. I can't do that because there are so many other games out there. I'm constantly looking at all the shiny things everywhere else, which is why PC is amazing. Obviously, I have Game Pass, I have PC Game Pass, I have Xbox Game Pass. It just makes sense for what I want to play. But they need to remember that people are buying in, not just with games, because people still buy games. Not just with a Game Pass subscription, but also with the consoles. And I'm not counting the S here, because the S is a nice, easy stream box. To me, that's all it is. As somebody who has been somebody with an Xbox for the last 20-some years, I've always had, pretty much within a few months of release, for the last 15 years, I've had day one, I've had the new Xbox. I don't feel that they have delivered. And all right, it launched in the pandemic, and then you've got all of that, and games getting delayed, and all this stuff, and the stuff going on with Ukraine, war in Ukraine, and that's delayed Stalker. I mean, that's a very specific thing. But there is a lot that Xbox have done badly in this last 3 years. I'm finally starting to think that things are starting to go well. Redfall was an incredibly big problem that I doubt will ever get fixed. It's probably just going to get swept away. I've not even looked into what they're doing with it. I think they're putting all of their eggs in Starfield. That Starfield basket, that beautiful, bright, shiny Todd Howard basket. I hope it pays off. I can't wait for Starfield. I am super... The only reason I'm not overly hyped about Starfield is because I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is now coming to Xbox by the end of this year. Broken today, it'll be cross-save with everything. Steam, probably GOG as well, and PS5, so you can play it any way you want. That's great. Should have been there day one. They should have had the support in to help Larian do whatever they wanted to do for the Series S and the Series X. The X was fine. The S was a problem. So the Xbox is probably 4 months delayed when it's selling like hotcakes on PC. And it already was, to be fair. 3 years in early access on PC. If you were going to play it on PC, you probably already had it. Or if you were waiting for it, you were probably going to get it on PC. PS5 version is going to sell really well. It might even move consoles. Xbox have missed out on that because of the stupid parity thing. That's a decision that they made. They're not perfect, but I really do feel that this is a turning point, and I hope that we look back in the future and the summer showcase and this sort of section of Gamescom and what they're talking about, what they're showing off over the next couple of days. All right, at time of recording, they will have shown off, but I'm playing catch up, so still a couple of days to me. I really hope that this is going to be a turning point for Xbox and that I start to actually fall in love with the brand again. But it has been an incredibly tough 2 years. And the biggest reason, and I know I say it all the time, biggest reason is Halo. And at some point I will talk about Halo Infinite. And I've said that before. But Starfield, and I'm not the only one who feels this way, a really close friend of mine who I connected with on Xbox. We used to work together. We both had Xboxes. Well, let's grab some beers, play online. The friendship grew from that point. One of my closest friends. Someone who has never really looked at the PlayStation said to me last year, this Xbox is pointless. There's just nothing. And we both played a lot of Halo. We played Halo all the time. And his group of mates, we all played Halo. My group of mates, we all played Halo. That's the power of one game. We also play Gears of War. There's no Gears of War. We played a bit of Call of Duty. That's a different thing. The quality of the Call of Duty games for me dropped off, so I just lost interest. But there's so many great things, and I did a video on it, that so many great franchises that Xbox have. They're starting to bring them back. Fable is looking... It's looking good. I'm still a bit worried about the direction that they're going in, but visually it looked amazing, and it really seemed to capture the world. I want to see where they go with it. The Forza games are always going to be at least good. I prefer the Horizon games. Horizon 6, yeah, will be 6, is probably going to blow everyone's mind. I think Motorsport will blow everyone's mind. Starfield is that rare, and Phil alluded to it, Starfield is that rare moment of potentially lightning in a bottle. You've got this buzz of the legendary studio Bethesda releasing a brand new IP, first brand new IP in, is it 25 years or something? They're doing something new. It's insane. It's in space. It's sci-fi. It's NASA punk. It looks visually stunning. There's limitations on the Xbox compared to the PC. Fair enough. PC hardware is much more sophisticated than the Xbox at this point in time. But as long as it works, as long as it runs, and as long as it is an enjoyable game that people can dip in and out, those with Game Pass are probably going to try it regardless. But Starfield is the make or break. 6th of September is a big day for the Xbox brand. And you know what? I have a bit of faith. But I'm going to be very interested to see what the mood is in the camp on September the 7th. And hypothetically, touch wood it's wrong. Touch wood this is not the case. But what is the mood in the camp if Starfield struggles? And it is not good. And it doesn't play well. What's coming next? We haven't seen that. We haven't heard that. We don't know what is the next big game after Starfield. Because they're so very tight-lipped and everything is focused on it. There's other things that we know about. This year is make or break for the Xbox brand. And I really hope Phil is still smiling September 7th. It's a shame that we didn't get any new news. Obviously there's going to be more have come out. I'm days behind, as I've said. This is still day one. This is the last video of day one. So next couple of days I'm going to look at day 2, day 3, try and get all that done. Loads to come on the channel. Let me know what your thoughts are. Obviously this was more of a bit of a chat with Phil than anything big and fancy. But yeah, I'm tentatively excited. I think Xbox is looking brighter. Obviously my big draw is Halo, and to a second extent Gears. We're not going to hear anything for Gears for a very long time, I don't think, which is really annoying, but fair enough. They're trying to work out what Gears 6 is going to be. Halo, we need to know what the future is. Gamescom isn't the place to do that. That is a whole separate thing dedicated to Halo. It's a Halo Direct. I'm still waiting for it. But in the meantime, we have Starfield, and I'm really hoping that it delivers. I think regardless, I'm going to have fun with it. And a lot of people will have fun with it. But let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next one.